time for prayer.
O worthy God, the preserver and protector of all, you are without beginning and without end, non-dual, beyond comparison, and none can measure you. You are without color, without expression, without form, and without attributes. You are unlimited and unfathomable, beyond imagination and conception, eternal and imperishable. You are indivisible, and none can see you but with eyes divine. You always were, you always are, and you always will be. You are everywhere, you are in everything, and you are also beyond everywhere and beyond everything. You are in the firmament and in the depths. You are manifest and unmanifest, on all planes and beyond all planes. You are in the three worlds and also beyond the three worlds. You are imperceptible and independent. You are the Creator, the Lord of Lords, the knower of all minds and hearts. You are omnipotent and omnipresent. You are knowledge infinite, power infinite, and bliss infinite. You are the ocean of knowledge, all-knowing, infinitely knowing, the knower of the past, the present, and the future, and you are knowledge itself. You are all-merciful and eternally benevolent. You are the soul of souls, the one with infinite attributes. You are the Trinity of truth, knowledge, and bliss. You are the source of truth, the ocean of love. You are the Ancient One, the highest of the high. You are Prabhu and Parameshwar. You are the beyond God and the beyond God also. You are Parabrahma, Allah, Ilahi, Yastan, Ahura Mazda, and God the Beloved. You are named Isa, the only one worthy of worship. We repent, O God, most merciful, for all our sins, for every thought that was false or unjust or unclean, for every word spoken that ought not to have been spoken, for every deed done that ought not to have been done. We repent for every deed and word and thought inspired by selfishness, and for every deed and word and thought inspired by hatred. We repent most specially for every lustful thought and every lustful action, for every lie, for all hypocrisy, for every promise given but not fulfilled, and for all slander and backbiting. Most especially also we repent for every action that has brought ruin to others, for every word and deed that has given others pain, and for every wish that pain should befall others. In your unbounded mercy, we ask you to forgive us, O God, for all these sins committed by us, and to forgive us for our constant failures to think and speak and act according to your will. Beloved God, help us all to love you more and more, and more and more, and still yet more, till we become worthy of union with you, and help us all to hold fast to Baba's Daman till the very end. Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai.
Nara
Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai. Welcome to another beautiful Arti with our EastWest Satsang today. And this space, the sacred space of the Arti, is to offer our heart's little offerings at Baba's feet and for all the hearts that hold Baba. Thank you so much for being there, and please raise your hands digitally for sharing poetry, song, shairi, reading, stories, anything that you would like to offer Baba. I shall put into the chat box the instructions. Great, we have Utakshi and Marukanti today. Awesome. Yes, Utakshi, please unmute.
जय मेहर बाबा। जय मेहर बाबा। जब तक रहेगा हमको, जब तक रहेगा हमको बाबा तेरा सहारा, जब तक रहेगा हमको बाबा तेरा सहारा, तूफान में भी हमको, तूफान में भी हमको मिल जाएगा किनारा, जब तक रहेगा हमको बाबा तेरा सहारा, सुख में भी और दुख में, सुख में भी और दुख में, जीवन की हर घड़ी में, सुख में भी और दुख में, जीवन की हर घड़ी में, हर हाल में भी हमको, हर हाल में भी हमको तूने दिया सहारा, हर हाल में भी हमको तूने दिया सहारा, जब तक रहेगा हमको बाबा तेरा सहारा, तूफान में भी हमको मिल जाएगा किनारा, तूफान में भी हमको मिल जाएगा किनारा, बाबा को जिसने जाना उसने यही कहा है, बाबा को जिसने जाना उसने यही कहा है, तकदीर से मिला है, तकदीर से मिला है, दामन हमें तुम्हारा, तकदीर से मिला है, दामन हमें तुम्हारा, जब तक रहेगा हमको बाबा तेरा सहारा, तूफान में भी हमको मिल जाएगा किनारा, तूफान में भी हमको मिल जाएगा किनारा, जिसे ढूंढता है प्रकाश काशी में मधुबन में, जिसे ढूंढता है प्रकाश, काशी में मधुबन में मेहर वही प्रभु है, मेहर वही प्रभु है। सबके परवरदिगारा मेहर वही प्रभु है, सबके परवरदिगारा। जब तक रहेगा हमको बाबा तेरा सहारा, तूफान में भी हमको मिल जाएगा किनारा, तूफान में भी हमको मिल जाएगा किनारा। जब तक रहेगा हम तो बाबा तेरा सहारा। अवतार मेहर बाबा की जय।
Wonderful. Thank you so much. That was really great start. And now we have dear Angela, head of the family.
Good morning, good evening. Thank
Jai
you so
Baba.
much. That's a wonderful duo. Well, I've been singing this song a bunch, so sorry if it's a repeat for you. Oh Baba, I'm aching inside to be closer to you, to walk by your side. Baba, Baba, won't you help me to see that you're as close to me as I let you be. My mind is so mortal, my flesh is so weak, my strength is all wasted on pleasures I seek. Come on your white horse and whisk me away. My longing near breaks me. How long must I stay? Can this be the answer that I'm longing for? That your divine spirit now knocks at my door. I'm coming to let you in, to taste your sweet presence, to let life begin. Oh Baba, come nearer, oh please. I'll drink of your essence, I'll fall on my knees. Come be my sculptor, for I'm made of clay. Hold me and shape me in your divine way. Baba, oh Baba, I'm aching inside to be closer to you, to walk by your side. Baba, oh Baba, won't you help me to see that you're as close to me as I let you be? That you're as close to me as I let you be. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba. I feel these bells ringing, Pizza Hut says ring the bell if you love the pizza and go. So every time I feel this ding, 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 ding. Jai Baba. And now we have Baba Jan's best friend forever, Tina Ji.
Best female friend. Yeah, so I'm really happy, as I've been saying, that I got this songbook from Shariar. So I have access to a whole lot of new songs. And it's compiled by Jeff and Nan. It's called Sing Along Songbook. Anyway, I'm going to attempt to play this song by Jim Meyer. It doesn't matter where you go. It doesn't matter what you know. It's unimportant what you say. Just know I'm with you all the way. If you're strong or if you're weak, sing songs of love or do not speak. Hold to the path or go astray. I am with you all the way. Storms gather, hopes fall. Your ship may falter, but through it all, do not fear, no need to pray, for I am with you all the way. I'll be there to cheer you on. I'll be there when all hope is gone. For I'm the one behind the play. I'm always with you all the way. When your heart feels lost and torn, and you wish you were never born, be consoled for every day. I am with you all the way. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba. Beautiful. Thank you, Tina Ji. And now we have dear Richard. Jai Baba. Cassandra, we want your hand up also soon.
Right, thank you, Roshani. This poem's dedicated to my mother, who died in October 2006. And appropriately, it's about mothers, and on Mother's Day, I thought would be appropriate as well. So, dear God, Baba, what is it I have to learn? Dear God, Baba, what is it I'm afraid of? You listen, you advise, you support. You don't get angry at my thoughtlessness. You celebrate in my joy and success. Whatever I do, you still love me. You provide me with gifts and surprises when least expected, lifting my heart when it's at its lowest. I have no fear of being close to you, and is my greatest wish to be at one with no barriers in between. I know that you are wherever I am, never that very far away. In all my surroundings, I see your creative hand. So why is it so hard to be open and loving with other human souls? I love and trust you, and although I may not necessarily agree or want to do your bidding, as like as not you have a way of making it come true. What lies beneath our mistrust and fear of other human beings? Is it pain or disappointments from the past that makes us reluctant to be open-hearted and love unconditionally those we cherish the most? We'd rather be happier and relaxed with strangers than allow someone special in so close. Why is it so difficult to love others the way we love you? For you are others equally to see, even though many work hard at hiding their intent to be invulnerable and insensitive to events so plain to see around us and on TV. How do we learn to find that key, to touch, to feel, to hear and see, through them to thee? The nearest I have come so far to realize the clues and maybe the key to start some ways upon the journey of the heart has been in front of me for years and until recently unrealized. In time, unfortunately, you removed the veil in front of my eyes so that I could still appreciate their form before they dematerialized and returned to rest in your loving arms. Well hidden and in disguise, they support us in our growth from childhood through to adult, teaching us the skills and how to be in this world of complexities, to venture and explore. It is only as we learn from experience and grow from life's lessons do we then share and depend upon, sometimes reluctantly, the wisdom of their experience and advice. Even then, we are still blind and self-concerned. More time must pass for us to realize and mature. A friendship as well as loving care that deepens the love between adults most rare. To be accepted and loved unconditionally, near or far for who you are, who gives compassion and support when we despair or in need of care. Who is this, I hear you cry? Some angel or spiritual master in disguise, placed there to open up our eyes? For in the many relationships in life where we love and experience the pain, you have the strength, maturity, and depth than to have that of a mother's love to last the test of time. Jai Baba.
That was powerfully wonderful. Thank you, Richard. And now we have dear Al. Jai Baba. Good morning, Al.
Jai Baba, everyone. If I'm not mistaken, I detected a small Irish accent in Richard's reading. I could be wrong, but anyway, we're celebrating St. Patrick's Day in a couple of days.
Scottish, not Irish.
Oh, Scottish. I'm sorry. I don't know any Scottish songs, but I'll learn one and dedicate it to you, Richard. But right now it's Irish and St. Patrick's in a couple of days. And next week at the Circle of Friends, we're having celebration for St. Patrick's Day, the first day of spring, and Persian New Year. So we'll have a variety show. So I've been practicing St. Patrick's Day. I went to Catholic school, and I don't know why, but most of the nuns and the lay teachers were Irish. So for St. Patrick's Day, it was a big to-do. People had to wear green, and we sang When Irish Eyes Are Smiling, and McNamara's Band, and Oh Danny Boy. So I'm working on two of these, and I thought I'd jump the gun and sing one of them today. I've improvised a little bit. Sorry, Richard. Mea culpa, mea maxima culpa. You know, when I graduated from college in 1970, I was in Amsterdam, and I was at a bar, and someone come up to me and he says, and I said to him, "You're from England, aren't you?" He said, "Yeah, how'd you know?" I said, "I could tell from your accent." He said, "We always thought it was you Americans that had the accent." So anyway, let me get to this song here before I take up too much time. McNamara's Band. Oh, my name is McNamara, I'm the leader of the band. Although we're few in numbers, we're the finest in the land. We play at wakes and weddings and at every fancy ball. And when we play at funerals, we play the best of all. Ba 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 ba, 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 meher baba, er baba. Right now we are rehearsing for a special swell affair. The annual celebration of St. Patrick's will be there. When my sweetheart to Ireland came, she took me by the hand. Says she have never seen the likes of McNamara's band. Ba 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 ba, 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 ba meher baba, er baba. Oh, I wear a bunch of shamrocks and a uniform of green. Some say I am the funniest that they have ever seen. There's O'Brien and Orion and a Sheehan and Meehan. Come from all over Ireland to play in this great band. The music's grand at your command. We're McNamara's band. Ba 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 ba. 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 Ba 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 ba. Meher baba, our baba in McNamara's band. Jay Baba, and thank you all for listening.
That was so joyful. Thank you, Al.
Thank you.
Jai Baba. And now we have dear Marvin with some lovely story for sure.
Jai Baba. I'm going to read something from Lord Mayher, Volume 1. It's about the chapter on Upasni Maharaj. At last, on the evening of January 31st, 1924, oh, wait a second, sorry, page before. During July 1917, a man named Shankar Patil took Upasni Maharaj to Sakori, a poor village about 5 kilometers from Shirdi. He requested Upasni to move out of the Kandoba temple and reside in Sakori permanently. Sai Baba consented to this move. However, Upasni stayed on the outskirts of the village by the Hindu cremation grounds. Then the villagers built a mud hut for him, and his following began to increase. The cremation grounds turned into a place of darshan and blessings. After some time, a small temple was built opposite the hut, in which photographs and paintings of Sai Baba and Upasni were adored. A special altar was erected where Upasni's wooden sandals were reverently placed. On various Hindu holy days, the cremation grounds became festive. A large number of Hindus would assemble in Sakori, and Upasni would allow them to worship him according to their religious customs. Men and women devotees would sit continuously through the day and night, performing japs, the repetition of God's name. Occasionally, Upasni would discourse to them on various aspects of Vedanta, and these discourses were recorded and published in Marathi, later translated in English and circulated by his followers. Even as a Sadguru, Upasni Maharaj seemingly performed austere penance. On the evening of December 5th, 1922, that would be just about the end of his time with Baba, I believe. When Upasni's devotees came to him for their usual darshan in his hut, they were shocked to find that he had locked himself inside a small cage of bamboo poles. Upasni had secretly had the cage constructed and installed when no one was around, and had entered it that day. The devotees began to weep and pressed him for an explanation because the cage was so small. Upasni was cramped inside and could not stand. To appease them, Upasni replied, "It is the will of God that for your sake I have to confine myself. In ordinary legal transactions, a criminal can only be released if another stands surety for him. In a like manner, I stand surety for the release of all my devotees in the divine court here. This cage is the place for casting off all your sins." Now, this next line is similar to when Baba said that statement about taking his name with your very last breath. And Upasni says, "This is not an ordinary cage. It is the very ocean of bliss. and whosoever dies thinking of it will, without doubt, attain the state of mukti ananda, liberation, eternal bliss. Upasni confined himself in that bamboo cage for over 13 months. Not once during that period did he leave. He ate, mainly bakri and chutney, urinated and defecated and took baths, all within the narrow confines of that cage. The devotees kept the cage as clean as possible under the circumstances and attended to his needs from outside the cage. Arti was performed daily to him and was followed by devotional songs by the virgin girls who had become his kanyas, nuns. During this period, Upasni gave numerous discourses about spiritual matters from within the cage. At last, on the evening of January 31st, 1924, he called a carpenter and ordered him to cut a hole through the bars. Upasni stepped out of the cage, welcomed by the elation of his followers. The time had come to step out of his cage to greet the fair flower of his garden, who was about to come to him. This was a child named Godavari. Drawn to spirituality from childhood, Godavari Vasudev Hatavalakar was only 9 years old in 1924 when she first came to Sakori with her parents to pay homage to the Sadguru. Immediately, to the amazement of all who witnessed this occasion, on seeing this little girl, Upasni said, "My child, you will soon assume the responsibility of looking after everything here. All this belongs to you." For a while, Godavari's family stayed in Sakori. One day during this visit, the little girl came to see Upasni and innocently climbed into his lap. Someone had just finished performing the puja ceremony to Upasni and had garlanded him with flowers. The master removed the garland and placed it around the girl's neck, astounding his devotees. Godavari had been a child bride. However, after a few years, Godavari's husband dramatically renounced the world and offered her at Upasni Maharaj's feet, thus enabling her to permanently join Upasni's ashram, where she became his foremost woman disciple. Maybe some more tomorrow. A young Zoroastrian is mentioned on the next page.
Jai Baba. Thank you so much. Thank you, Marvin. And now we have dear Meher.
Jai Baba. Jai Baba. Baba, please take over. The thing is, want to be yourself. In the world, there's only one happiness, and that is to be yourself. And because nobody is himself, everybody is trying somehow to hide. Mass pretensions and hypocrites, they are ashamed of what they are. Until persons decides that whatever the cost, I just want to be myself. Condemning, unaccepted, losing respectively, everything is okay. But I cannot pretend anymore to be somebody else. This decision and the declaration of freedom from the weight of the crowd gives birth to your natural being, to your individuality. Jai Baba. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba. Thank you, Meher, for this very, very important reminder.
Welcome.
Jai Baba. Jai Baba. And now we have dear Jack. Jai Baba.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for that poem. It speaks to what I'm going to read on pretense. But first of all, thank you, Al, for thinking of St. Patty's Day rendering there, and for Richard's lovely tribute to his mom. Okay, I'm going to read two short ghazals from Bill Gannett's book, Ghazals for the Friend. And I want to say this book of his is a work of art because it's done, as far as I know, with the most difficult form of poetic expression, and that's iambic pentameter. And I want to say something after the silence. We long to breathe pure air and drink sweet water, cook and warm by clean fire and eat good tucker. There was a time the sacred elements spoke of God, but we forgot that language with a passing nod. We are fluent now with digital techno speak, and the natural man is a rare and bloody freak. All our needs and wants are now wrapped in plastic to package and promote what makes the mind spastic. Our thinking is like fireworks exploding in a room, a coffin of weird sulfurous color celebrating doom. Big Fist is pleased with our huge corporate success. The few are filthy rich, but most full of distress. Darvish remembers the new ancient remedy of how God's name turns great pain into comedy. The stars sing their way to man with a silent cry, while a man full of song singing longs to die. From beginning to end, our journey longs to find a voice that, longing with love, annihilates mind. Our journey takes us from the fine interstellar dust to the supernova of ego mind by grace at last. Infinite bliss is not just some cosmic notion, but results from the most pure and rare devotion. The master is the one whose center is everywhere, but whose circumference is to be found nowhere. The friend is flesh and blood beyond time and space, whose body offers an infinite and timeless embrace. Darvish borrows the rare voice of his loving wife and surrenders to the beloved his flickering life. And this is my ghazal of ebbs and flows. Oh, beloved, is it my nature in this apparent mode of being that creates within his heart a curious sense of unease, which occurs whenever I encounter the sense of giving? In state of fact, my mind incurs a state of prideful dis-ease. Though I'm constantly reminded of what you so lovingly told us, that which has to do with selfless service, my ego gets slapped after the fact, and I again miss the bus, and patience and equipoise seem to serve no purpose. In truth, I cannot keep myself in the results completely out of any mental action. And though I try to override agendas hidden, Maya's hands reach out to hold my neck in traction. So a fully heartfelt offering usually becomes the one overridden. Believe me, O Lord, this is no attempt at being something I'm not. I fail to discern even as to the how. But yet I sincerely feel that it needs to be everyone's lot to center on this aspect of the Tao. After all, you've already stolen my heart and replaced it with feelings that defy description. And as to this life I lead, I have neither map nor chart. With love, obedience, and surrender, the only worthwhile prescription. Beloved, while you're at it, why not take my mind as well? It hardly ever seems to do me any good. Only creates more actions that causes desires to swell. I'd certainly get rid of it if I only could. And by your grace, I will not to stop serving your cause in whatever way or wherever it takes me. And although I must suffer to experience all my mental and heartfelt flaws, it is by remembering you and loving you that will truly make me free. So I'll walk this bhakti path and stumble over the rocks of obedience and fall down in the dust of surrender, trusting always that you'll pick me up and forgive me of all my stupid and ignorant blunders. And more often than not, your push is a gentle rear ender, but it's your magnetic pull that stretches my heart to blow my mind asunder. O travelers to my heart, follow my lead. For all of you, it's been laid out. Hold me tight in your heart and flick away those mosquitoes of the mind. Let the love I send you be a continuous and flowing water spout. Then your river of life will empty into my ocean of love, and all of you and all of me will forever bind. Thank you. Good. All right.
Jai Baba. Thank you so much, Jack.
Sure.
Thank you. And now we have our little blue bus, Rosalie.
Jai Meher Baba. I wanted to say something. I enjoyed Al's song. You put Baba into anything and it's magnificent. Yeah, I mean, instead of a papa in that song, it's ba ba ba. So it's like the ultimate weapon. And also, I wanted to say, Mara's favorite color was green. Green. And I was there for 7 birthdays for Mara, and they would even frost her cake green, different shades of green. Anyway, we're back on the blue bus with the bumps, flat tires. I'm going to share. Oh, and I actually thought it was interesting. Baba spoke in the mystical language through Narina in English. So there's something to be said about English. And so I'm just going to share 2 lines and I'm going to repeat them because it's like it's good enough to be a ghazal. This is from one of the 19 different articles that when Baba spoke through Narina. It says, this one's called God Has to Be Manifested, and it is magnificent. It's amazing. God has descended to make us see the God as man. God is here to see in him us as God. God has descended to make us see the God as man. God is here to see in him us as God. What have we to fear? Jai Baba.
That is short with power-packed impact. Thank you, Rosalie. That was beautiful. And now we have dear Cassandra.
Thank you. I had a hard time finding this, but this is for me, one of my favorite quotes about Baba, and it's from Glimpses of the God-Man, volume 3, pages 34 to 35, called The Lake of Love. Margaret Scott had met Baba during his last visit to the States in 1935. She thought that her way of living had caused Baba to suffer. She expressed her apology for her inability to please him. Baba, but your love has compensated for the suffering. I know deep down that you do love Baba so much. Baba loves you too. Margaret, Sometimes I am very naughty just because I don't understand. I think I understand now. Baba, the most important thing to understand is that we must be honest to God, Baba, ourselves, and to humanity. Honest is the sense that in loving God, there has to be no compromise. Have you anything to ask? Margaret, I just don't know. She came again the next day and repeated that she had failed Baba and felt grieved because he had to suffer for her. Baba assured her again of his love and continued. As for suffering, I have suffered for myself and for the whole world, and mostly for my intimate ones. So definitely I have suffered for you. But you love me. Hence, the suffering has been compensated. I know exactly how you have tried, what you doubt, how you've tried to overcome this confusion, and how you eventually have come to me. All that means that you have not failed me. Everyone commits mistakes unless one is perfect and one with God. But love for Baba wipes away the mistakes. We must remember that God is all truth, all beauty. And in our love for God, for Baba, we must be 100% honest. Purity, honesty, and love. God wants these three. And if you love Baba, so don't bother about anything. I want to repeat just one line from that really hit me so hard. As for suffering, I have suffered for myself and for the whole world, and mostly for my intimate ones. So definitely I have suffered for you, but you love me. Hence, the suffering has been compensated. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba. Thank you so much. Thank you for this beautiful reminder, Cassandra. And now we have dear Betty, after which I will share a little thing.
All right. Well, I always wonder if there's an appropriate time for irreverence, but I'm just gonna go with it. This is always wrong. Always wrong. Always wrong. From the get-go to the late show, every day and all night long, always wrong. I'm always wrong. Every breath and every brainwave, every note of my little song, always wrong. I'm always wrong. Almost, but not quite, always seems to be my plight. It's kinda hard to be finite, but I'm yours, so I'm all right. Always wrong, always wrong. From the get-go to the late show, every day and all night long, always wrong. I'm always wrong. I always do my best, never fail to make a mess. You put the burden on your chest and never love me any less. Always wrong, always wrong. From the get-go to the late show, every day and all night long, always wrong. I'm always wrong. Lord, I wonder where your bliss went on the day you made myself. Though it's nice that I'm consistent, I wish it was something else. Always wrong, always wrong. From the get-go to the late show, every day and all night long, always wrong. I'm always wrong. Every breath and every brain wave, every note of my little song, always wrong. I'm always wrong. For you, Roshani.
Thank you so much for the surprise share. Sweet surprise. And it's so beautifully. So I was trying to see, okay, so what is it that I should read today, Baba? And it opened up to this very, very connecting message. News about the Master by F. H. Dadachanji from the book Treasures from Meher Baba Journals. Meher Baba's work in the West. The greatest reformers of life throughout all time have tried to bring about the blending of East and West to create a family of humanity. The new man will be understanding in his acceptance of the differences of traditions and conceptions of life, exchanging of modern mental culture of the West with the true spiritual life of the East. After 15 years of strenuous work in India preparing his Eastern group of disciples, Meher Baba came for the first time to the West in 1931. He laid the foundation of the new phase of his work when he gathered around him an intimate group of Western disciples and planted the seed of spirituality in the lives of hundreds whom he contacted in Europe and the United States. In his own words, I have come not to teach but to awaken. Meher Baba thus qualified his spiritual mission in the world. In fact, he has come to awaken in the heart of man the true experience of spirituality. Jai ho to our East West family. Avtar Meher Baba ki jai. Lovely. We have 5 more minutes and let's hear it from Mercian. Jai Baba.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. All your sharings were wonderful. I'm going to read from the Everything and the Nothing, Mayor Baba, the Divine Response. The moment you try to understand God rather than love him, you begin to misunderstand him, and your ignorance feeds your ego. Mind cannot reach that which is beyond it. God is infinite and beyond the reach of mind. The divine will that brought forth this infinite illusion expresses itself in all its purity through me to make you turn away from illusion towards God consciousness. Every moment I respond to the whole of creation, my response being divine is wholly from love. The many faces that one responds as you see them are but the reflection of your many mirrored mind. You view and judge my actions from your level of understanding and attempt to differentiate them in the light of your own limited standards of values. And so you misinterpret the different shades of my response to different people. Being unlimited, I am simultaneously on all levels of consciousness, and as such, in my response, I differentiate one from the other solely in the light of their impressions, sanskaras, or the different states of consciousness that the impressions give rise to. Each action of mine is a response in accordance with the necessity of the recipients on various planes of consciousness. And so by its very nature and magnitude, my divine response sometimes appears enigmatic. Do not try with your limited mind to understand the significance of my actions, nor try to imitate them. You must not do what I do, but do what I tell you to do. To try to bring my every action within the orbit of your understanding is but to understand the limitations of all your own understanding. At times when I see you confused, I am moved by my compassion and love for you to give an explanation of the reason for a particular action of mine. And so it seems that I'm defending my actions by giving explanations for them, and thus is shown your weakness and my strength. But remember that despite my explaining the significance of my actions, they will never remain beyond the range of your knowing. The utter simplicity of my divine game appears to be highly intricate as soon as you try to understand it through your intellect. The more you have of my company and receive of my love with an open heart, the more wholeheartedly you begin to accept me. And the more you see of me, the more convinced you become that you understand me less and less. Exerting yourself to comprehend my divine game through the process of understanding opens up vast fields of speculation in which you wander and arrive sooner or later at a dead end, finding yourself hopelessly lost. If my actions cause confusion, it is because of your lack of complete trust. Therefore, uproot all doubt and remember well that whatever I do is for the best. All my actions are my divine response, born of my divine love. Nevatar Meher Baba Ki Jai.
Jai Baba Marcia, thank you so much, and apologies for reading your last name as your name alphabet.
It's okay, I like it. Marcium. I need a name like Tina. Marcium. Actually, I have a nickname that somebody gave me. It's called Mars, because I'm from outer space. Maybe I'll change my name to Mars.
Thank you, thank you. So, Rosalie, you wanted to share something?
Yeah, I forgot I wanted to share this, that, you know, the Irish are known for storytelling and senses of humor, poetry. And Tom Riley asked Adi Rani when he was visiting the US, did Baba say anything about the Irish, Ireland? And Adi said, yes, he did. He said there were many true saints in ancient Ireland. And so I think it's interesting. I think St. Patrick must have been one of them, but I think it's kind of known as a holiday of drinking. I think there were some that were getting divine wine there. And also, I wanted to say, in this Advent, the way I see it, humor is so vital, so vital. And Pratapa here has been sharing Baba's relationship with Dr. Ghani, who was so funny, you know, and he was a childhood friend of Baba's. And Baba actually said, I didn't write down the quote, but Pratap said yesterday that he suffered so much in the new life. I guess Ghani must have died during the new life. He suffered so much not to have Ghani around. He missed Ghani, and that was a very strong part of his suffering. So I thought, and also entering the new life, Baba said, I lost everything in the new life. Thank God I didn't lose my sense of humor. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.